Action. Welcome to another incredible episode of the Action Podcast. And we got a few movies on tap today because apparently we missed an episode. So our number one movie this week we're going to talk about is Equalizer 3. And that is the third installment of the Equalizer series.
Should be the final installment too.
Should be the final. Secondly, we're going to review Strays. We did not get a chance to review that one on our platform here, so we'll talk about that one as well. We have Blue Beetle also on tap today. We have Liam Neeson's Retribution. It's actually not his, technically. He stars in it. We also have Golda, which is a film about Golda Meir, the Israeli prime minister during the Yom Kippur War. And then lastly, we have a new film produced by Adam Sandler, and he has a supporting role in it, but it's You're Not So... Oh, I'm sorry. I already messed that one up. You're
so not invited to my bat mitzvah.
Bat mitzvah, yeah. So, and that is on Netflix. And so with that, Pete, let's get into Equalizer 3, starring Denzel Washington and directed by Antoine Fuqua.
Right. You asking me first?
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Antoine, directed by Antoine Fuqua. Let's get this right. This guy is an amazing director. He's already kind of proven himself as one of the top directors in Hollywood right now with movies like Training Day, the Equalizer series, Emancipation. As much as the movie wasn't an amazing movie, it was shot beautifully and directed beautifully. Yeah. I mean, this guy is top of the line. Magnificent Seven as well, of course. I'm a big fan of the Equalizer films. I've loved them and I enjoy watching them repeatedly. I know that's one of Paul's prerequisites to whether or not a movie is good or not. For me, I can watch Equalizer movies all the time because there's just something about Denzel Washington nonchalantly being able to destroy people at will.
Yeah.
This is the final chapter where you're set up in Italy, in Sicily, and Denzel Washington's character McCall is there, Robert McCall. He's there and he just did a job. You're not really sure what the job is, but now he's in Sicily and he's in this little town of Altamonte, which is gorgeous. This beautiful coastal town that just kind of goes up the mountainside. It's picturesque. And for me personally, this movie hits home in a way because where he decides that he wants to finish the rest of his life is exactly where I want to finish the rest of my life. So I'm already right there with the Equalizer in this movie, right? And then, of course, you're in Sicily, so there's mafia, and then things sort of transpire, and you will see what happens if you go and see this movie. What I will say is that this is not only action-packed as they always are, but there is a little tiny element of gore and a little bit more in the killing that is a little bit more in your face than the other two. Because I just rewatched the other two the other day, and Denzel's really, really great. I'm going to get your take on it, and then I have one complaint about the Equalizer series, but I want to hear your take.
Yeah,
on the episode 3.
I never saw the second one, so I rewatched the first one again, and then watched the second one. I didn't fully pay attention to the second one, so I probably need to rewatch that one. But I agree.
The second one combines these two. I mean, all right, go on.
So I do think these series are, it's a unique series in the sense that this is your classic vigilante genre, right? Also made famous by Liam Neeson. But these two guys are the vigilante guys, right? And I thought this movie had a lot of heart and isn't just pure action or pure vigilante. There are large gaps where you're developing the character and the story and all that. And I think
exactly, you're experiencing what his life is like, and it really does draw you in for sure.
Yeah, and I think and again, like without really having a great grasp of the second one, I felt like I wouldn't necessarily call this the best one of the three, but I would say this is probably the most complete film of the three. I think storyline, you get a little bit more in depth on his needs and his personal things versus the first one is very, man man wants to, save girl, right?
Yeah,
And
there's still a lot of mystery shrouding his existence and who he is. Um,
yeah,
what I loved about this third one is that they gave you a taste that that he finally is taking the ring off and he's finally trying to move forward in his
yeah,
personal life.
exactly,
And
yeah,
they've actually taken him and his character to a new place, and at the same time, they're still making him as badass as humanly possible. I will say that I've said that this is almost like a very it's a more realistic sort of John Wick in a way, where John
Mhm.
Wick just go into a room, destroy 15 people who are armed to the T's,
Yeah.
and
Very
walk out.
similar to the first John Wick,
Yeah,
where it's
yeah,
again it's a lot of story compared to like the second one is more bio.
right. Now, the only thing I have against these films, and it's minor, even though it's kind of big at the same time, is that there's never a moment of, when like the hero, there's that last little moment where not the all is lost moment where, oh my gosh, I'm so depressed we can't move on, but that very end during like the finale where he's about to be killed, but then something happens and then
Right.
he triumphs.
The
You know what I
twist,
mean?
yeah, kind of like the twist.
There's never a twisted ending. It's always at the end, he's going to come in and he's just going to annihilate.
Yeah,
And to Antoine Fuqua's credit, he goes into these final scenes and just delivers amazing ending sequences.
yeah,
I personally love the moments
yeah.
of like those final scenes with heroes, but I mean, I'm nitpicking. I think that this is a great series. This is a great trilogy. Um, I love that. I'm not going to spoil it, but there's a thing at the end that you're going to be like, oh, that's how it all connects.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's really well done. I would go see this movie 100%.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen any of them, of course, check out the series. Like I said, if you like John Wick, Die Hard, even,
Sure.
maybe Taken, I think those are really good comps for this film. Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I think that's maybe the why this film is not maybe the greatest of all, like retribution type films, is
Right.
the fact that he's never really purely struggling, and they get away with it. And
But
so
I think they
it's
get
not
away
really
with it
it's
because I think they've set it up brilliantly in a way, which, now that we're talking about it out loud, it almost makes sense that the finale is he's not going to have any issues because he's always been like, okay, 30 seconds and you all are dead. And he goes,
yeah,
and then he's like, and he maps it out in his mind and
yeah,
and then he executes. Um, and you've seen it through two movies, and then as you're watching this third, you see him doing it through the third movie as well. Could this be just somebody who's so calculated and so precise, and he's such a master at what he does, that's the reason why his end sequences don't have a struggle, because he's just that good. I don't know, maybe that's what the intention was. Either way, it's a great watch.
yeah, it worked regardless. And again, you can't always do that in films, but I think part of it is just it's Denzel Washington, and I think that gives you a little bit of latitude in terms of that. Like if we're starting in this movie, you know what I mean, and we directed and wrote a movie, and I'm the star, I don't have that kind of cachet with the audience, and so they'll be like, "No, dude, like
Yeah,
it's
you probably don't.
it'd be too easy." You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
I don't have that reputation, and so
yeah.
I think that's how Fuqua can get away with this.
uh it was also nice to see Denzel and Dakota Fanning back in action together again. Weren't they in Man on Fire together?
Yeah,
They were really good in that, and it was great to see them back together again. That's always a positive.
yeah, for
And
sure.
she had a good role.
Yeah, for sure. So we both recommend it, guys. And again, if you haven't seen any of them, start with the first one, of course, and then watch which one next, Pete?
Equalizer 2.
Yeah. Then number 3.
And then go to number 3.
You're only going to hear that here on the Action Podcast, guys. Not all sites are going to lead you in that direction.
So. You never go 3, 1, 2. You always go 1, 2, 3.
Some just shake it up and say, watch them, but awesome. So let's move to our next movie, which is Strays. This is the live action, but obviously CGI animated movie about dogs starring Jamie Foxx and Will Ferrell, amongst other voices. Right. I'll go on this one, Pete, because I believe you have not seen this one yet.
I have not seen this movie yet. I'm going to see it in the next day.
Well, you only had 3 weeks to watch it. So on behalf of the audience, great job for doing your homework. But so Strays, this is our R-rated comedy, and there's, this is, according to many, a very dying genre, because it's how much can you push the envelope? Where you're going to go with it? Are you, can you maintain that audience and not piss a lot of people off? And I thought this movie did a good job of definitely pushing the envelope. It made me laugh out loud several times. I talked about this in the they cloned Tyrone with Jamie Foxx, and I felt like this film did an excellent job of letting Jamie Foxx be Jamie Foxx on this. He really didn't pull back any punches, and I actually think he's the funniest one in this film. I think Will Ferrell does a great job, and his voice is perfect for the role. But in a weird way, he's not the star of this because of that. And it's needed, I think, for the story, because the other voices, Isla Fisher also was one of them. She did a great job. And there's a lot of comedy in this. A good story overall. Will Forte plays the human owner. He's awesome, of MacGruber fame in SNL. And MacGruber. I was entertained, man. Like I said, this movie had a lot of good moments to it. I don't think
is it raunchy?
I mean, it's dogs, so it's.
Is it how adult is it? Is this okay for kids?
No, it's rated R. It's R-rated comedy.
Definitely not then.
So definitely not for kids. But yeah, I thought it was really funny. One of the better comedies of the year. I wouldn't put it number 1, but this is not. I wouldn't put it as high as Joyride, but I think this is probably number 2, number 3 for the year. I definitely want to watch it again. I think this could be funnier the second time you watch it. It might have that kind of potential, but I enjoyed it. So check it out if you like those, R-rated kind of comedies. And
I love them.
Yeah, I think it works. I like the concept. I thought it was a smart concept, and I thought it was.
How did Will Ferrell do in an animated voice? Did he do good?
Yeah, he's perfect. Like I said, he's the perfect voice for the pet, because the pet is very, the dog is very unassuming, very, like
he can play really well. Yep.
Yeah, and he's not a little clueless and naive, and he just got that perfect kind of wonderment voice. And again, I think he does a great job in this. It's just his role didn't require him to be it's not like Anchorman, where he's just his lines are all hilarious and that. It's just a different role, but it worked for him, and he was great. Again, Jamie Foxx to me is really the one that hits the home runs in terms of the jokes. Really funny.
Lovely. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah. So next we have Blue Beetle, and that is a new DC Universe property. And this was, the biggest thing coming out of this was, Latin superhero diversity, all that good stuff. And a lot of production people were also Latin as well. And so that was kind of the calling card of this. And I'll let you go first, Pete, and then I'll go second on this one.
Thank you. Yeah, this is Blue Beetle got decent reviews. I mean, it's got 78 Rotten Tomatoes, it's got 6.7 on IMDb, and I get it. Even though I don't get it, because I was absolutely bored throughout this movie. I thought the Blue Beetle, the main kid from Cobra Kai, I thought he was perfectly cast, and I thought that
Yes.
he did an amazing job with the script that was written. Like, he played that part almost to perfection. Like, he really,
Yeah.
really just came and put his heart into it. Um, and he was exactly what I think the creators of this film wanted. Um, and there were some nice action sequences, and there were some nice visual effects, I suppose. I just, at the end of the day, I just thought it was quite generic, to be
Yeah.
honest. I didn't think that I think this had a real opportunity to take a sort of Latino perspective into this sort of superhero world, and really sort of elevate it. Like, there's really amazing parts of it. Like, the family is able to kill people, but the Blue Beetle's not able to kill people, and that aspect is very funny, and it's very humorous. Um, the girl, the love interest, is gorgeous, and I think that she does a good job. I don't know. There's a lot of really good things about this movie, but in its totality, I just think it missed. Um,
Yeah. Let me
Go ahead,
interject,
please.
because I think I know why a lot of it why it failed. And it's really
Right.
kind of classic writing things. So for
Mhm.
instance, one of the biggest writing flaws in this film, and I agree with you, I thought the movie started out pretty solid and interesting, and it really kind of tailed off in the end, because I think, again, when you're talking like some of the really great scripts, everything is interconnected and everything plays out and has a purpose. So like one of the main things in this movie, this is not going to give it away, spoiler alert, this is not going to be a spoiler, but so
If you're scared, fast forward 20 seconds if you're
yeah,
really
no,
scared.
no, no, it's really not. So Blue Beetle in the beginning is trying to go to law school, right? And ultimately he doesn't go because he needs to help the family.
Right.
In no point of this movie does him going to law school or having knowledge of law pan out at all. Why not have him go to engineering school, MIT, or something, and then he can build, and like none of his setup has put him in a position to be Blue Beetle or to even use any of those skill sets.
Right.
It's just
It
that's
almost felt like it almost felt like he was like, I want to go to school. And then, like, the next scene is like, I just graduated. Like, how
yeah.
exciting is that? And then they
Yeah.
just kind of go on with the movie. It's really, yeah, go on,
There's
please.
just there's just no payoff on it. And again, that's a
Yeah.
little tweak that then now has a payoff at the end, but it's just, again, huge wasted moment there. George Lopez was kind of the same thing. The whole movie he's a certain way, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, he can like build a bomb or
A
something like that.
genius.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
like a
Oh my
genius.
God. Like,
And so it's like that wasn't set up though, and it's like
no.
what do you like, and it just takes you out of it because you're just like, oh wait, so now he has all this talent yet he's poor, basically. And it's
Yeah.
like it just doesn't make any sense, because you're like, well, either he's super lazy, which is how you're basically portraying the character, because like think of, this is a movie that did it right. Think of Independence Day, right? Where you have Randy Quaid's character, and he's a drunk, and they set up him the whole movie. He fails, 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 and finally he gets a shining moment. And then at the end, you lose it because you're just like, oh man, like, and then
Finally.
and the kid's proud of him now, and it's like, man,
Yeah.
that's a home run on side character development and playing it out. And again, you're talking a pure action movie, Independence Day, right? But
Right.
that's great writing. That's why that movie is considered one of the greatest things, because every one of those layers is interconnected. And I think that's where this movie just didn't spend enough time fleshing it out, because these are easy problems to solve, and you just need to work them out.
Yeah, George Lopez was so frustrating in this movie because I think that 60% of the time he did a phenomenal job. Like
Yeah,
like I was like, wow, he's really, really good. Like, when he
he's
was
funny.
rattling off like the really smart stuff, and he's like, "Hey, hold on, let me just figure this out real fast." And he was doing not normal stuff, but like when he was doing what his character would normally do, He was amazing when he came in, like especially right out of the gate, and he's just this over the top uncle who just is screaming and cracking jokes almost. Like he threw me off. He put a little sour taste in my mouth, and then he started to be really awesome. I think if they would have started him as that character, I think that he could have been the easy number two in this film.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. It just missed it by that much. Like it was almost there. I
Yeah.
know what they were going for, and they almost had it.
Yeah.
It's a
I
fine
mean,
watch, but
yeah.
don't get your hopes up.
Yeah. I mean, Nicole and her son saw it and they enjoyed it. So, like you're saying, I think there is some entertainment value there, for sure. But I think again,
Cobra Kai kid, I can't pronounce his name. He is awesome.
yeah, he is awesome. And I think again, he's going to
Really
be a
good in this film.
superstar. Yeah. Somebody's going to write him a really great role and he'll
Yolo Meriduena.
yeah, I can't pronounce.
He's awesome in this role. Susan Sarandon, who is one of the greatest actresses of all time, I could give a shit about her performance in this movie. That's
Yeah.
what I think about it. I don't like her in this movie. This was poorly cast. She had no business being in this movie, and her
And her character
performance.
is poorly written too.
But she mailed it in. Even if even if it was written poorly, she would have the ability, as the actress that she is, to do something incredible with it. She just wasn't feeling this movie. You can tell. No offense. That's all I'll say about it.
Yeah. All right. Well, next, let's move on
Yes.
to Retribution. And this is a Liam Neeson driven film. We're gonna have a fun one talking about this one. So I'll go first because I know you're gonna Debbie Downer my review.
I
So,
just have like one comment and that's it, and we can move on.
yeah. So audience, you can probably assume where Pete's gonna go with this one, but of course, that's why we have both of us here. One of us is gonna give a positive review. One of them is gonna give a negative review, and
Not always, but go
not
on.
always, not always. But again, with the title Retribution, starring Liam Neeson, I think you can get a general grasp of what the movie's about or where it can go. Again, I want to highlight some of the positives of this movie.
Hmm?
I really enjoyed watching Liam Neeson. This is maybe one of his weakest characters of all time, and I don't mean weak like written. I mean like he's not a badass in this movie. He's like you're almost like come on man, like man up, like he's just a shell of himself in this movie, and it's kind of it's almost like when Sylvester Stallone was like in Copland, you know what I mean, like he's an overweight cop. It kind of reminded me of that a little bit, and so that was one of the
Rambo, man, come
yeah,
on.
yeah, it's one of the cool things I think about this movie is again just seeing Liam Neeson not deck his kid, that's just complaining and all that stuff. But again, I think this is a pretty decent, entertaining ride. Again, I don't think this is a home run by any stretch of the imagination. I think this is a single. And again, if you go in, if you like these types of films, a very genre-y type of film, again, it's kind of a ticking time bomb in the car type of a film, kind of a speed light, if you will. I think you can enjoy it. If you're trying to expect perfection from this film, you will probably not enjoy it and be pissed. I think that's a fair assessment on this one. Pete, go ahead and shut me down.
No. I mean, so I'm not gonna shut anybody down, but I mean, this was. It just seems like this is just another example of a sort of stereotype that Liam Neeson has been sort of kind of thrown into in these movies where, in this movie, I almost expected him to like pick up the phone and be like, the person's like, he's like, I have a certain set of skills, god damn it. And the guy on the other line's like, yeah, but you're sitting on a bomb that I put there. So what are you gonna do now, asshole? Like, and he's like, oh, that's a good point. And now I gotta like figure out how to drive around for an hour and a half and
But I like the element, and I'm not going
not
to.
have my kids blow up. Right.
Yeah,
Like
I
it's
also
good. I mean, there's some moments, right? And there's some very nice sequences, but I mean, I feel like I've seen it before. If I haven't seen Liam Neeson do this particular movie before, fine, that's fair. But
Yeah,
I've seen Liam Neeson do this role 1,000 times,
sure.
and it's old, and I really wish him to do more things, because before Taken, God, man, this guy was doing theater. This guy was doing
Schindler's List.
what was Love Actually was he was phenomenal. It was a tiny role, but he was phenomenal in it. Even in Ted, where he was the guy that walks up in the cashier and he's like, I want to buy these tricks. It's a funny thing, but it's based off of the whole Taken sort of vibe. I'm
You know
just
what I wish
over.
he would do more is military films. I just saw him in, I mean, I've seen the movie before, but I saw him in Battleship. I just rewatched that. And I love him as a general. Like he's
Watch that.
I love that movie. That movie's great.
Really?
That's a P-Push classic right there. He's the one that got me into it because you
Hmm.
heard so terrible things about it, and you're like, Battleship, this has got to be terrible. But it's directed by
Huh.
Peter Berg, and it's really entertaining. And Taylor Kitsch is in it. It's funny. It's got good action,
Hmm.
pretty cool plot. And again, there's some cool references in that movie that make it pretty awesome. So
Right.
it's a kind of a, and I want to call it hokey because it's not hokey, but it's like, again, if you can, it's a popcorn movie like at its best. It's
But
a
even recently, like he tried to break out and do that Marlowe movie, which just
Oh, that one was boring.
was really boring. But then, like, there's Memory, there's The Marksman, there's Cold Pursuit,
I like the Marksman. Marksman was good. You know what?
Commuter,
The
like
cold
The
one,
Commuter, and then there's
yeah,
all of these. It's just
the
like, just
cold one
do
was
something.
great
I
though.
saw him in. I was just about to watch this last night. Um, the one with Leonardo DiCaprio, Daniel Day-Lewis, about New York, the gangs of New York. He had that little bit at the
Oh yeah,
beginning. Like,
he
that's
was
what I'm
great.
talking about. That's Liam Neeson. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
like
Like
historical fiction, that would be great if he did some of
an
those.
Irish guy that can just kill you. Not some dude that just rages war on people that have wronged him. He's not
Well,
the equalizer.
this one's not that movie though.
But
This
still, it has that vibe.
and in the whole again, I don't want to give it away because it's a crucial part of the story, but
Yeah, we
the
don't want
stuff
to
that he go,
ruin this movie for you.
the stuff that he goes through on a personal level in this movie is pretty rough. Like that'd be rough car ride, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah,
anyways,
sure. I mean,
look, I don't I don't want to spoil it because the more I talk about it, I want to give away that aspect
yes,
of it.
it's not.
All right, so go see it at your own risk. There, obviously, you got one
This
thumbs
is
up.
this is a streaming video, a streaming movie. I mean, there's so many great movies. I would go see Mission Impossible again. I would go see so
Yeah.
many other movies 2 times before I go see this movie.
However, the next film is a movie I do recommend, and this is Golda. And again, this is the story of Golda Meir, the Israeli prime minister during the
Hmm.
Yom Kippur War. And I didn't really have any expectations going into it. I didn't know much about it. I didn't know anything about Golda Meir, and
Mm-hmm.
so this was just but I knew it starred Helen Mirren, and Helen Mirren obviously
Driver. Yep.
is beast. Yeah, Liev Schreiber. Yeah. But I'll tell you what, man, this movie was extremely entertaining.
Hmm.
I love films where if I don't know, I knew of the Yom Kippur War, but I don't really knew any details of it. And
Right.
so I love a film where I can kind of like also learn as I'm kind of ingesting the story. And again, this movie was hitting on all cylinders. I thought, again, it was interesting. Um, Also, dude, she had the largest cankles of all time. I
Oh, look at her. Yeah, I'm looking at her right now. What brilliant makeup. She doesn't even look like Helen Mirren.
no, it's funny. I was
Wow.
watching a Seinfeld episode, and they were talking about like the ugliest uh, um, heads of state, of all time, and there's a reference of Golda Meir in that. And I don't
For
think
reals?
yeah, I don't think I ever knew that. And then I saw it after
Oh my
watching the
God.
movie. I'm like, oh, Golda Meir. And I was like, I can see because they're like Brezhnev takes the cake, and then.
That makes sense. Yeah,
And then
she's
I
not.
think Elaine was like Golda Meir. You can't take it away from Golda Meir.
Yeah, she's not pretty, but she's significant.
In this movie, dude, it's so much smoking. I mean, this is the 70s, prime
Mm,
70s where everybody's just smoking in rooms and
yeah.
uh, it makes it very uncomfortable, in today's world. But again, I think it's a really well done, pretty entertaining film. I definitely recommend checking this out. Again, if you like historical nonfiction.
Love it.
You know, this is a good genre, and again, interesting history with, you know, how the whole thing played out with the U.S. involvement, all that good stuff. So check it out. It's limited theaters, but it'll probably be streaming soon as well. So
I can't wait to see that one. I'm looking forward to that.
yeah. And then lastly, we have You Are So Not Invited to My Bat Mitzvah.
You are so not.
Yeah. And now I do want to preface this to the audience, because if you go in with wrong expectations of this film, it will ruin your day. This is not an Adam Sandler driven film. He is in this film. His daughters are the stars of this film. He produced this film, but
his wife is in this film.
His wife is in this film, and I believe his mother is in this film, and his mother-in-law.
Yeah.
But this is not an Adam Sandler powered film. This is a story about his daughter, and she's the star of this. But it definitely has some Adam Sandler elements to it that you definitely have some familiarity. But go ahead, Pete. I think this movie is right up your alley. Less of mine, since I don't have any daughters. But
yeah, I mean, I'm not Jewish, and so I don't have this to look forward to, a bat mitzvah.
Right.
But you know, when you have daughters, there is that element of, you know, father of the bride, where you're gonna have to pay for all of it. So there's that little bit of it, you know. But I was really, really pleasantly entertained and surprised by this film. I heard nothing about this film before it came out. You said, oh, there's a new Adam Sandler movie, and it wasn't even on the Netflix sort of timeline, right? Like, it was, you had to push the arrow and it would go to the next page almost. And then I saw it and I started watching it. This movie's adorable. And I think it's really, I think that his daughters, his youngest daughter, who's the star, was so innocent, and yet portrayed somebody who was trying to just fuck someone over really hard, and then really felt horrible about it in the end. I thought it sort of ended very quickly. That would be my only downside with. I thought it just kind of resolved itself in 5 minutes. However, the journey getting to that sort of ending, which is a satisfying ending, I thought the journey was really well done. I thought Adam Sandler was just a little bit of sprinkles on top of whatever sundae that you just ordered. He was not significant in this movie, and I think that was by design. But when he did talk and like give his little jokes, like you would think back to other Sandler movies, and
I think it was real life Adam Sandler. I don't think a lot of acting to him. This is him. It's his two daughters. I think
he was mad. But normally he just, I love you and I'm here for you and I'll do whatever it takes for you. And he had his portrayal of being a father was very much akin to how I approach it as well. So this movie was really kind of, I mean, the kid that everyone's in love with is just such a douche in this film, but whatever. The kids,
I feel like all kids are douches.
Kids nowadays are such douches either way. But at the end of the day, this is a really, really well done, heartfelt.
This is a heartfelt movie for sure.
It's such a positive movie about something that is so ridiculous. The fact that people would spend exorbitant amounts of money on a bat mitzvah tells me I'm in the wrong business, and I'm part of the wrong religion apparently too. Jesus.
Yeah, I thought, you know, again, like some of the things this movie did well. We talk about it a lot on this podcast, but it's pushing the envelope and it's turning the notch. And again, what the journey you're talking about, like what the daughter keeps doing, is impressive in terms of like they don't hold back, and it's like you're just like, oh man, like you get reactions and you feel in this movie, and that's what you're ultimately going for. So again, I think this movie is sneaky good. And
shout out to the Rabbi Rebecca, because she crushed this film.
She's by far the funniest part of this movie.
By far, like the funniest character, and so is DJ Shmuley. I mean, let's be honest. He came out and crushed before every party, and he was just lit.
I want to almost that be like Nick Swardson. I was really hoping DJ
would have been great.
I know. I was really hoping it would be
Nick Swardson.
because I felt like that character could have gone a little bit further, but it was good. It was worth it. Awesome. So with that, Pete. So again, check this out, guys. We both think you'll like that. And next week, we may or may not do a podcast. Just FYI, we're gonna see the movies and then make that decision. But we have Nun 2 on tap, and then My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3. So I don't know if that's gonna be worth an episode or not. We'll see, and we'll let you know. But yeah, and then we'll be going on our other ones. So with
Make
that,
sure to like, subscribe, tell your friends.
absolutely, guys, help us grow. We appreciate you guys. And with that, Pete, that is a cut. Thanks, guys.